first lesson we can learn is what the psalmist said, that God is a very present help in the time of trouble. That's what the psalmist say. He's a very present help in the time of trouble. And these Hebrew boys were thrown into the flame, but what they found out was that they were not alone, because when they got into the furnace, he was already there. Notice the text. When they were in the furnace, there's no conversation. There's no prayer from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There was no prayer to say, Lord, come by the fiery furnace. You don't hear them praying, Lord, go by the hospital. You don't hear them praying, come to my rescue, because he was already there. Aren't you glad you serve a God that wherever you show up, he's already there? Aren't you glad that you serve a God, no matter what the circumstance might be, that he is already there? They were not alone. And I need to tell somebody today that in this moment of time, that we are not alone. We can wear our mask with our head up high and say, all of my help still comes from God. The God that they had professed faith in earlier, or the same God that they had professed faith in, when they got into the furnace, they still believed in him. I need to stop right there. The same God that we have been professing faith in before the pandemic came, we still ought to know that that God is still alive. Hey, I need somebody to talk back to me. The same God that when we gathered in the building, when we worship him in spirit and in truth, that don't stop denying or don't stop believing him because there's a pandemic. Amen. Come on and talk back to me. Because look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They are not outside of the furnace, but they are in the midst of the furnace, and God is already there. Amen. I feel like preaching right now. Amen. The same God that they had professed faith in earlier was there when they got there. No prayer to God to go by the furnace. No prayer to God, God, please come by the furnace. He was already there. There in the midst of the furnace. And Nebuchadnezzar said, I see something unusual had happened in the furnace. The other three who were thrown in bound, which meant that their hands and feet were tired, which meant that they had clothes on when they were thrown in. Nebuchadnezzar made this statement, I see 4, and the 3 that I had bound, they are loose and walking around in the furnace. The only thing the furnace had did for them is what they went in bound with, that God has set them free. I need somebody to holler back at me. Amen. See, sometimes whatever binds us, whatever put us in bondage, sometimes God allows us to go through the furnace. And the only thing that furnace can do to a child of God is break that which has you bound up and break that which has you in bondage. And God can use the furnaces of your life to bring about a blessing in your life. I see 4. The other 3 are loose, walking around in the furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego could not have been a member of the Black Afro-American Baptist Church, because too many of us would have been at the door, let me get out of here. I got to get, it's too hot in here. But sometimes you got to stay where God places you at until God gets through working in your life in order to set you free. Because when God sets you free, you are free indeed. Notice, all the fire did. I'm trying to hurry up and go home. Amen. I don't know what I'm going home to. Amen. All the fire did was burn away that which had them bound. God used the fire to loose these men from the ropes that had them bound. the situation in the furnace looked like the worst possible thing that could happen to be placed into a furnace that had been heated 7 times hotter than it was before. It looked like the worst thing that could happen to it, but it turned out to be the best thing that could happen to it. Can I talk back to you? Somebody said, how do you know it's the best thing that could happen? Because the God they had been professing to believe, now they were eyewitness to what God was able to do. There's somebody listening to me today, because you went through some hell and high water. You now are a living witness to what God is able to do. Have I got anybody here, anybody listening to me?